6-7 won't die.
Leave me alone! 6-7!
But why? From custom meals to the literal British Prime Minister to the word of the year, even though is numbers, the 6-7 meme has more staying power than any meme I've seen in years. But why? What is the appeal? We run down the story and of course give you some of the funniest examples right here on Scroll Deep, the show that keeps up with internet nonsense so you don't have to. Sponsored by WSQK The Squawk, the Stranger Things radio station brought to you by Netflix, but more on that in a minute. Well, not 1 minute, more like 6 or so. The 6-7 meme has dominated 2025 and presumably will also dominate 2026 and 7, but we did a full explainer breakdown video which you can see on our page. In a nutshell, it came from a rap video before becoming a thing people tried to sneak into conversation, before becoming just a thing that kids won't stop saying, driving teachers insane. I think if we've learned anything from the 6-7 meme, aside from the fact that the real numbers were the friends we made along the way, it's that we all say the phrase 6-7 a lot more in our real lives than we realize. The amount of normal conversation I'm in with other adults, one of us will be like, yeah, probably be there in 6-7 minutes, and then the bunch of us will look at each other and just be like, 6-7. We've got to acknowledge it. And it seems the mentions will only continue as the meme continues apace. Let's run down some of the more bizarre recent instances of these numbers being invoked, starting with no less than the British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, who had to apologise after doing the 6-7 hands and thing while visiting a school. In a clip posted to the Prime Minister's Instagram account, he's seen reading with a young girl who points out she's on page 6-7, at which point he's like, ha ha ha, 6-7, ha 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 ha, 6-7. That was a bit wild, he said as he exited the classroom, and then he was told off by the head teacher of the school, Joe Anderson, who said, quote, "You know children get in trouble for saying that in our school," and Keir then apologised and said, "I didn't start it, miss," which I think was a relatively light interaction, but all the British headlines are like, "Grovelling Prime Minister begs for forgiveness after doing 6-7. No, I don't think that's quite how it went down. But that is just one of many 6-7s to invade our society. But before that, as I mentioned earlier, this episode is sponsored by WSQK The Squawk, a brand new Stranger Things radio station. This is by far the coolest thing that has ever happened to Scroll Deep. And we have a sentient tennis ball on the show, so that is saying something. Now, we won't be giving away any spoilers for those that haven't actually watched the final season, but it does involve a radio station, WSQK The Squawk, and you can actually listen to that station in real life on Global Player, which you can get as an app or you can get it online. The station is set in world, meaning that it's being broadcast as if it's live from Hawkins in the 1980s.
WSQK The Squawk.
Hey there, Hawkins shoppers. Come on down to Hawkins Video, where your next adventure is just a rewind away.
You'll hear adverts for Scoops Ahoy, Hawkins Videos, you'll hear the biggest tunes from the 80s, there's even a Hawkins agony aunt called Talk to Tammy. But the best part is that every day at 7 p.m. GMT, this American radio station uses British time. You can dial in to Dial a Dedication, where they will read out dedications sent to the station via Global Player. So we're going to send one in now. It couldn't be easier. You just open Global Player, go to Dial a Dedication and just type in what you want to say. I'm going to say, "Hi WSQK The Squawk, it's Benedict from Scroll Deep. Can I get a shout out for all my Scrollgers? Loving the station, loving the tunes, and in my opinion, it's very tennis." I have genuinely sent that, so you can come back next episode and we'll see if that dedication gets read out on air. I have a funny feeling it will be. And for one last adventure, stream Stranger Things Season 5 on Netflix. I love imagining the person who has never heard of Stranger Things until now, and we're the ones who switched them onto it. But from Season 5, we move back to 6 and 7, and the megastars and celebrities that have fully embraced it, including my favourite actress, Kim Kardashian, who was asked about the meme in an interview with Grime Grandma on Capital, and when she was asked what 6-7 memes, she said nothing.
What is the 6-7 malarkey?
6-7.
What does it mean? I don't even know what it means.
I think it means absolutely nothing. That's like the thing. It means nothing.
So, to be fair, she knows what it means. Well done to Kim for keeping up with that. Domino's and Pizza Hut, and I think Wendy's as well now, have all leaned into the 6-7 meme, doing discounts and deals which refer to 6-7. Pizza Hut's doing a deal where you can get a small pizza for $67. Pretty good deal. Dictionary.com's word of the year is 6-7. Again, they know their stuff. I would argue that those are numbers. They said, quote, perhaps the most defining feature of 6-7 is that it's impossible to define. Oh, very droll. It's meaningless, ubiquitous, and nonsensical. In other words, it has all the hallmarks of brain rot. It's the logical endpoint of being perpetually online, scrolling endlessly, consuming content fed to users by algorithms trained by other algorithms. And what are we left with in the wake of this relentless sensory overload? 6-7. Is someone at dictionary.com having a full breakdown or something? Jeez Louise. Still, it remains meaningful to the people who use it because of the connection it fosters. 6-7 shows the speed at which a new word, it's not a word, it's numbers, can rocket around the world as a rising generation enters the global conversation. Holy essay, my God. This isn't the first meme. We've had dumb memes, but I'm a fire in Malaysia. Did that unite the world? All right, so why won't this go away? Well, I think it's because, as I said, it comes up in conversation a lot more than you would think, and also because it is numbers, which to me, I would say probably one of the most commonly used counting devices we have is numbers. Almost all of maths is numbers when you think about it, but sometimes maths is letters, and that's when it gets confusing. But most of the time, maths is numbers. And so because maths is being numbers, and because numbers is being counting, we're doing that often. I think also it has that classic thing where the more annoying it is, and the more annoyed people get at it, unfortunately, the funnier it is to do. I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't believe in running jokes into the ground. It's like my good friend Dan Howell says, don't milk a joke. Plus, there is the most important thing, which I always say to parents or anyone a bit older who ask me about 6-7, which is actually quite frequent at this point, which is that you've got to remember that kids are annoying. 12-year-olds are always annoying and always incomprehensible, and there will always be a thing they are saying. It's not really new. Like, we just went through this with Skibbity. It's like stimming. You know, it's just fun to say these things. They will have always done this. I'm sure in like the 50s or whatever, there were kids going like, shubap, shubap, you know, and it was like really annoying. And everyone was like, you should be listening to classical music, turn off that Elvis. So the important thing about it is that you can't understand it. As that person who was clearly having a crisis at dictionary.com kind of eloquently put it, like it is meaningless on purpose. And also I would give it 6-7 months and then people will probably move on from it. There's talk about scientists developing 8. Apparently we might have 8 soon. So that could be exciting. But now we come to the secret question for people who made it all the way to the end to reward your good attention span. My question is thus. If you were going to rename one of the numbers, 1 to 10, which one would you rename and why? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, Brian, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It could be a human name, or do you want to try and come up with like a number sounding name? Although 11, also the name of a person. When you think about it. If you haven't already, make sure to follow the show to keep up with internet nonsense. There's over 1 million of you now, and I love you all deeply. And thank you to Netflix for sponsoring this episode. And don't forget to watch Stranger Things 5 right now. Very cool sponsor.